Chapter 951, Submitting to Pressure After Turning Down the Demand. Despite the sneak attack, Mo's attack was very effective. Be it by him impaling the opponent's heart, or by the flame arrow that hit the old man's chest, the black-robed old man was severely injured. This time, instead of spraying out black fog, the old man gushed out black and grayish blood. Big brother. The other black-robed old man immediately waved his magic staff upon seeing his situation, creating a giant tiger made of black fog that forced Mo to have no choice but to retreat to Tangxiu tens of meters away. The old man didn't pursue, and instead quickly took a porcelain bottle out from his inner pocket and retrieved a gray-black pill from the inside, forcefully stuffing it into the injured old man. A black fog was then released from the slit of his fingers and constantly fused into the injured old man's heart. A few kilometers away from the scene, 6 youths carrying swords in black wushu suits were under the lead of the Everlasting Feast Hall's experts, as they marched in strides toward the hilltop. They also clearly saw the scene of the fight a moment ago. The youth in the lead had eyes sparkling upon witnessing the fight as he turned his head and said in a low voice, "They're using flying swords. It seems that they're also cultivators just like us. Those 5 men who just attacked are not that strong and may be weaker than us, but the last one is very formidable and has comparable strength to us. I didn't expect that we'd run into so many cultivators, especially on an island amid the boundless sea like this. It seems that our master is incorrect. There turns out to be many cultivators in the world." A youth next to him nodded and added, "You're right, brother. I guess it's because master has always been in seclusion for a long time, so she doesn't know the situation about the outside world. Our sect moved to Singapore from China, but China itself has a long history and boasts such a large population. It's bound that talented people will also appear from the masses. We were just traveling this time and found those 2 wizards committing murder, finally catching them at this place. Let's try not to have any conflict between us and these cultivators if not necessary." "Yeah, I got it," the first youth nodded without speaking much. Atop the boulder, the injured black-robed man, Wozniak Solok, raised his hand to erase the grayish-black blood stains around his mouth and said, "Relax. Our life nucleus is not in the heart. I won't die even if he twists and smashes my heart into pieces. But you gotta be careful with them. The fire these people unleashed is not the likes of fire elementals, but is likely the fire element of magicians." Solok nodded with a solemn face and replied, "They may be insignificant, but their power is indeed nothing to scoff at. Also, we just lost one black dragon and the other one is severely injured. Just like you, I won't be able to continue to fight soon as well. Let's negotiate with them. We must remain on this island no matter what," said Wozniak Solok with a nod. "We have contacted everyone else in our celestial wizard clan. So long as we stay on this island, our people will catch up as fast as possible. At that time, no matter how strong these people are, I don't think there's any possibility that they will be able to contend with our clan. It's not too late for us to have our revenge then." Solok pondered about it for a moment. Then, he raised his head to look at Tangxiu and the rest dozens of meters away from them and shouted, "Don't you think it's too extreme to bully us by relying on your numbers here? You can expect a lot of people from my celestial wizard clan to come here in less than 2 days. Keep your arrogance by then and my clan will drive you out and kill you all." This made Tangxiu burst into laughter, and his figure flashed and appeared several meters away from Solok. He spared a glance at the last giant python around the 2 men that protected them inside. Then, he immediately said with a heavy voice, "Every country has its own territory, and so does every clan. I told you this island is my private territory. I've spent a fortune to buy it, as well as invested huge capital, manpower, and resources for its construction. Now you've come to my site and unexpectedly want to drive us out? What kind of fucking reasoning are you spitting out?" "I told you that we'll buy this island from you," retorted Wozniak Solok with a deep voice. "The children of my celestial wizard clan gave us a lot of money. It should be enough to cover all your expenses. Tang Xiu responded in a sneer, now tell me, if I like your celestial wizard clan's territory, for instance, your clan's land, would you be willing to sell your land to me if I want to buy it? Ugh, Wozniak Solak was stunned and rendered speechless. His celestial wizard clan had occupied and lived on their land for thousands of years. They would never sell it even if they were offered countless mountains of gold. What do you say? Tang Xiu sneered again. Cat got your tongue so you can't answer it? Humph, you're nothing but damned bandits with your attitude of robbing others of their possessions. Know what you can do and what you can't and get the fuck out of this place at once. Tell your celestial wizard clan to fuck off and never step on my 9 Dragons Island, else we'll be mortal enemies. Once we are, I can slaughter your whole clan when I unleash all the power I have in hand. Threat. A bare and bold threat. Had it been declared by someone else, the two brothers Wozniak Solak and Wykers Solak would have scoffed at it and responded in contempt. But it was coming from Tang Xiu, sending a quake to their hearts, causing them to have no choice but to act more cautious. It was because they didn't know Tang Xiu's origins, plus the fact that this young man had so many experts as subordinates, forcing them to face the threat as a serious matter. Who exactly are you? Asked Wykers Solak in a deep voice. You have no qualification to know who I am, answered Tang Xiu apathetically. What you need to know is that I can erase your life today if I really wish to. Even if I'm bent on removing your entire celestial wizard clan from the face of the earth, no matter if your clan escapes from Earth, I still have the means to annihilate you all. Wykers Solak and Wozniak Solak exchanged glances. They didn't believe Tang Xiu's claims, yet the boasting still made them feel a bit downcast. The latter then spoke again, we can move a step back. What we just need is the dragon stone in the center of the island. Once we get it, we'll leave immediately. Dragon stone? Now, Tang Xiu wasn't trying to hide the killing intent blazing in his eyes. The so-called dragon stone was the core of the dragon's vein, exactly its essence. Once it was taken away, the feng shui that once blessed this land would disappear, turning this place into nothing but ordinary due to the dissipating dragon's vein and the declining heaven and earth spiritual qi. Kill them. Sending an order in a shout, Tang Xiu took the lead and instantly unleashed his divine sword, flying over to the two men while brandishing it lightning fast. The instant the sword flew over, a tens of meters long sword beam came slashing down at the two old men and directly shattered the boulder behind them. Kill. Tens of guards who accompanied Tang Xiu to come here, including Mo Ao's group, followed suit, whereas Mo Aon and several core experts of the Everlasting Feast Hall also unleashed their flying swords for the first time. Killing aura erupted and besieged both Wozniak Solak and Wykers Solak within. Damn. How can you be so strong? Getting straightly injured by the sword energy, Wykers Solak coughed up grey blood and roared in alarm. He could only watch his heavily injured brother, Wozniak Solak, being swept over by the sword energy, leaving a wide wound and causing his blood to spring out. Even the giant python that protected them was directly killed. Regret and remorse filled his whole person like a tide that was drowning him within. Only then did he realize that he just made a fatal mistake, underestimating Tang Xiu's power. He also realized that what made Tang Xiu's killing intent flare up was because he demanded the dragon stone, this island's secret. Gotta flee. He glanced to the northwest before he immediately returned to his big brother, Wozniak Solak, and grabbed his arm in an attempt to escape to the northeast. It was a pity for him that his fast speed was much slower than Tang Xiu and Mo Ao's group, both flying on their swords. In just a few seconds, the brothers were surrounded by flickering flying swords that vehemently began to strike them in intricate flying paths. Please stop. We'll give up on the dragon stone. Wykers Solak could only resist and fend off the bombardments for several seconds as he cried out to these experts. The divine sword manipulated by Tang Xiu transformed into torrential layers of sword beams. Layers of sword beams were as though continuous waves that constantly assaulted Wyker's Solek and Wzniesk Solek. You go and run away. Quickly. Wzniesk Solek, who had been fatally injured, suddenly blasted out a terrifying aura. He suddenly grabbed Wyker's Solek and unleashed all of his strength to throw him to the northeast. Yet, at this instant, several flying swords pierced his body. His body began to bulge like a rubber ball while a black fog formed a twister that swirled around him. You want to kill me? Then be ready to be buried with me. I'll drag you all to hell with me. Wzniesk Solek let out a grim grin and exploded his body. The twister formed by the grayish-black fog instantly burst out and expanded tenfold, engulfing several weaker members of the island guards. Draw back. This black fog is poisonous. Tang Xiu's skin was exposed to the black fog and his expression instantly changed upon seeing its potent corrosiveness. He decisively conjured a secret art, causing a heavy rain to suddenly pour down from the sky in the surroundings. At the same time, he also released a stream of primal chaos power to wrap the waist of a man and push him away to the distance. Not far away from the scene, the 6 youths were all looking shocked. They were just slightly surprised when Mo and Jing Shi's team acted. But when Tang Xiu went into action, they could instantly tell that Tang Xiu was much stronger than they were. How could he be this strong? Not even all the powerhouses at the Golden Core stage are able to do that, right? But Master said that there should be no other cultivators on Earth who have cultivated to the Golden Core stage nowadays, muttered one youth to himself with a slightly pale face. Beside him, another youth gulped down while staring with shocked and bulging eyes at the intense battle. He's very strong. I don't think that our master can even contend with this man. No way any cultivator at the Foundation establishment stage can do that. As their voices faded away, the 2 youths exchanged glances and their paces abruptly came to a halt. If Tang Xiu's age was just like those middle-aged men involved in the battle, they would have been able to reluctantly accept it. After all, he could have been a senior who had been cultivating for many years. But Tang Xiu was much too young, just a few years older than them. It was a hard blow to them as people who used to be proud and arrogant, causing them to be somewhat unable to accept it. Chapter 952, Mobilizing Experts. Amid the fierce fight, as Tang Xiu sent dozens of his men out of the black fog, Mo's group didn't stay idle. After primal chaos power broke away the restriction of the black fog, they immediately bypassed the area shrouded by the black fog and continued the pursuit to the northeast. The killing must be done and all the enemies must die. Even if Wyker's Solek was much stronger than them, they must accomplish Tang Xiu's order no matter what. Killing intent was still billowing in Tang Xiu's mind. He passed through the black fog to continue chasing, following closely. He could sense the grief and indignation from Wyker's Solek who was running ahead, yet he had no compassion and pity at all. Enemies were enemies, and he had decided to kill them. Leaving a witness alive was not an option so that they could avoid much bigger troubles cropping up later. You can never escape. The divine sword under his feet flashed ahead like a shooting star, carrying him and finally blocking Wyker's Solek on the edge of 9 Dragons Island in less than a minute. At that instant, he conjured the lightning evoker art. Dark clouds suddenly combined to cover the clear sunny sky as lightning sparks and the rumbling of thunder followed. Arm-sized lightning bolts came blasting down from the layers of cloud in the firmament and bombarded the frantically fleeing Wyker's Solek. The instant after. 2 kilometers away in midair, the shocked expressions of the 6 youths turned much more intense, causing one to shout frantically, "Lightning evoker art?" He unleashed a genuine lightning evoker art. Its might is much more powerful than the same art our ancestor master once used. Who exactly is he, and why does he have such a high cultivation level? How can his lightning evoker art be this powerful to an unthinkable extent? Look. The number of lightning bolts is increasing. It's like a sea of lightning. Amazing. The youngest one among them shouted with a shocked face, "Quickly activate the communication charm to inform Master and our ancestors." Tell them about the situation here. Towards the northeast of Nine Dragons Island, lightning and thunder raged within a 1-kilometer area, causing it to be shrouded in lightning. The scene was as though a downpour of electric rain from the heavens. Even though Wiker's Solak was very powerful and kept fending off the powerful lightning bolts, he could only persist for a short time before he was turned into a charred crisp by the continuous downpour of lightning. Tang Xiu flew higher and stood in the air as he retracted back the divine sword into his body. Along with the dispersal of the lightning art, the lightning stopped descending and the dark cloud in the sky quickly dissipated. He then looked at Wiker's Solaka's charred corpse and chillingly shifted his sight to the vast sea in the distance. The Celestial Wizard Clan. He knew that the issue was not yet over. Aside from those 6 young cultivators who came from a mysterious sect nearby, the 2 black-robed old men had also informed their Celestial Wizard clansmen. This issue was bound to be very troublesome. "Is everyone all right, Ao?" asked Tang Xiu as he turned to Mo Ao's group who just caught up. 4 died and 6 are injured. But everyone else is all right, answered Mo Ao. "You're much stronger now, boss. Walking on the cultivation path is just like boating against the current. You'll only be left behind if you can't move forward," responded Tang Xiu. "Yet, the speed of your progress is still too fast, boss," said Mo Ao with a forced smile. "Every one of us thought that we'd catch up with you soon, but then we realized we're just getting further and further." These 2 old geezers were very powerful. "I don't think I would have been able to face any of them had it been a one-on-one fight." "You're all already very good regardless," said Tang Xiu. "After all, you guys started from ordinary martial artists and began cultivating less than a year ago. However, I admit that there's still a big gap between you and those 6 youths. To my surprise, they're so young, yet they have all advanced to the late stage of foundation establishment. That makes me wonder how strong their sect is." "You previously told me that this island is a blessed land, a treasure trove that cultivators dream to have, boss," replied Mo Ao hurriedly with a slightly changed expression. "Those 6 boys now also know about this. Have you thought about it and decided on anything? Do you want us to remove them?" Tang Xiu shot a glance at the southern sky before he shook his head and said, "Let's not deal with them for now. However, tell everyone to guard against them nonetheless. As long as they don't commit any harmful deeds on the island, don't clash with them. It's likely that the sect behind them is quite powerful judging from them being so young while being at the late stage of foundation establishment. We are still weak and need time for now." "I understand." Mo Ao nodded. Tang Xiu ruminated for a short while before he flew straight to the 6 youths who were floating midair in the distance. As he came before them, he sported a smile on his handsome face, cupping his fists over to say, "Little brothers, I'm rather surprised to see you all so young, yet at such a cultivation level. Let me introduce myself. I'm surnamed Tang with a given name Xiu, the owner of this 9 Dragons Island. May I know your name and the sect you guys come from?" The first youth returned the ceremony and said, "My name is Jin Chanxi. These are my 5 brothers, Jin Xingzi, Jin Fengzi, Jin Yangzi, Jin Huazi, and Jin Yanzi respectively. We're all disciples of the unitary whole sect with Taoist Zishuan as our master. Fellow Taoist Tang, may I also know from which sect you originate from?" "I did not originate from any sect or school," said Tang Xiu smilingly. "And these men have been trained by myself as well. May I know the reason why you have come to my 9 Dragons Island, Jin Chanxi?" "Our elders ordered us to leave our small world and travel outside to gain experience. It's just we happened to run into these 2 Western wizards when they committed some evil deeds, so we tracked them all the way here. I know we came here without your consent and permission as the landowner, so we hope that fellow Taoist Tang can forgive us." Upon hearing such a cultured reply from Jin Chanxi, Tang Xiu felt like he fell into his own reverie since all the cultivators in the immortal world also addressed each other with, "Fellow Taoist." He didn't expect that he would also run into the same custom on Earth today. "It's all right. I already heard about it from my subordinates. In fact, it is I who should thank you guys. If it weren't for you all coming here in time, I could have lost more men and those two old geezers may have ruined the whole island. Fellow Daoist Tang is too polite. We naturally cannot let those wicked wizards off with their atrocious deeds, replied Jing Chanzi modestly. I think you guys are just a few years younger than me, so there's no need to call me fellow Daoist, said Tang Xiu with a smile. How about we just address each other with brother? You can call me Big Brother Tang, and I will call you Little Brother. The 6 martial brothers exchanged glances, and all of them nodded in agreement. They had witnessed Tang Xiu's power and knew that he was definitely stronger than them. Seeing Tang Xiu's humble attitude wanting to befriend them, they were naturally unwilling to refuse. All right then, little brothers. We've killed those 2 celestial wizard geezers, so it can be said that we've removed the source of a disaster, making my island peaceful for the time being, said Tang Xiu with a smile. Let's head to my place and have a chat there. All right, nodded the 6 youths. Shortly after Tang Xiu took the 6 youths to the palace, he ordered some people to prepare some dishes and wine, while he headed to the reception room on the first floor to chat. After the talk, he learned that the whole unitary sect only had a few disciples, about a few dozen, and the 6 of them were the disciples at the lowest rank there. You guys are the lowest rank in your sect, yet you have reached such a cultivation level. Then I suppose the elders of your sect should be much more powerful, yes? Does your sect have experts at the nascent soul stage? Asked Tang Xiu with a smile. The question made Jing Chanzi hesitate, yet he still nodded and said, our sect's respected grand elder is at the nascent soul stage. But the elderly have always been in seclusion for many years and seldom appear for decades. I heard from Master that the elderly only came out when a world phenomenon occurred a few decades ago. It may sound laughable to you, Brother Tang. But we all have never met with our grand elder either. You just said about the world phenomenon a few decades ago. What kind of phenomenon was it, exactly? Asked Tang Xiu. We don't know much about it either. But I heard from the sect's elders that it was like 2 terrifying auras, said Jing Chanzi as he added further. It is said that the whole sky looked as if it was bleached by blood when those 2 auras appeared, like the advent of the world was arriving. Also, our sect elder conducted divination and said it was probably an omen that something big will happen. Ultimately, a few decades passed by yet nothing big has occurred. 2 auras? A sudden realization came to Tang Xiu's mind immediately. He felt that the world phenomenon at that time should have occurred due to the arrival of Gu Yan and Ji Qimei. Shortly after, Tang Xiu asked about another issue again. Your whole unitary sect used to reside in China, right? How did the entire sect and the disciples migrate to Singapore all of a sudden? Was it because some accidents occurred in your sect? No, it's not because my sect had any accident whatsoever, replied Jing Chanzi with a smile. It's because our elder found an entrance to a pocket dimension which leads to a small world somewhere in Singapore. The elderly then conducted explorations and finally determined that this small world was a blessed land. Another reason was due to the situation in the mainland where China had just been founded as a country. The country was in turmoil, hence our decision to move into this small world. Tang Xiu was suddenly enlightened. He already knew that there were entrances to small worlds on Earth. For instance, there was the report from his subordinate who had discovered one such entrance. However, due to a lack of power at that time, he didn't want to take a risk and directly explore it, thus putting the idea on hold until now. I should allocate some time to explore this small world after I'm done dealing with the upcoming battle. Such small worlds usually have a lot of precious resources and treasures. So I hope that this small world also has a lot of cultivation resources, thought Tang Xiu before he immediately shifted his attention to the 6 youths again. Suddenly, Jing Chanzi inquired, Big Brother Tang, you told me you have no sect nor school and that you train all of your men yourself. Could you tell me more details about that? Could it be that your cultivation art is an inheritance from your family? No. I accidentally obtained cultivation art and unintentionally tried to practice it. Tang Xiu shook his head and smilingly said, I didn't expect it to be successful, nor did I expect to continue practicing until I arrived at my present cultivation level. I also had some chance encounters during several adventures and obtained a few cultivation manuals. Jing Chanzi immediately understood and replied with envy. I once heard from the sect's elders that there are indeed some ancient cultivators' inheritances scattered around Earth. But it seems like we don't have the kind of luck you have and haven't yet chanced upon any fortuitous encounters. Also, Big Brother Tang, I saw your fight with those two shamans. You conjured the lightning evoker art back then. It looks very powerful. Chapter 953, Preparation for Rainy Days. Europe, Poland. Wrocław is the fourth largest city in Poland and the second largest financial center of the country after Warsaw. Located in the southwest of Oder River's bank, the city holds its important status in Poland due to its economic, cultural, and transportation developments. Northeast of Wrocław is an area containing a black castle with roads surrounding it, though the landscape itself is somewhat bleak with sparse towns and people. The only distinctive feature of the land was the majestic castle, which is famously known by Wrocław's denizens as the residence of a famous big family in Poland. Deep inside the castle was a room with gray-toned interior design, decorated with various antiques and furnishings, giving off a very elegant and classic style. Sitting on a European-style sofa was a solemn-looking Wojciech Solak, holding an ancient record in hand, comparing it with a map drawn on a sheepskin roll. Two black-robed decrepit old men stood still nearby like human skeletons wrapped in ropes. Bam! The door was fiercely pushed on from the outside as a graceful and handsome youth, with a pale complexion, came running inside. He panted as indignance betrayed his face, shouting at the angry-looking three men, the life crests of clan elders Wikers Solak and Wisniewski Solak just shattered. They are dead. What? Wojciech Solaka's complexion changed instantly and the other two old men were petrified in that instant, glaring incredulously at the young man. Killing intent burst out from the three men, locking on the youth. Say that again, roared Wojciech Solak. The young man gulped down but hurriedly said, the life crests of clan elders Wikers and Wisniewski Solak just shattered and their wisp of souls dissipated, indicating that they passed away. The ancestral hall elder ordered me to report it to the patriarch and the two clan elders. Fists clenched tightly, Wojciech Solaka's eyes were filled with killing intent as he spoke with a heavy voice. The two clan elders just sent the news that they were on an island in the Pacific Ocean. We can know their exact location through the use of our witchcraft. But if they died, we don't have any means to pinpoint their location at all. What exactly happened to them that could claim their lives? They are among the 20 strongest people in our clan. The message from clan elders Wikers and Wisniewski Solak before they were killed said that the island is not far from the main landmass, interjected the black-robed old man with murderous intent in his voice. But there's no such island at all on the map we've collected, nor do we have the exact coordinates of their location. How can we find it? I don't care how difficult it is. We must find the location of where they were killed. And whoever killed them, they must pay a terrible price, replied Wojciech Solak with a chilling voice. Summon Grand Elder Wartosk. Tell him to take some clan elders and form a team to immediately scour the Pacific region. They must find the specific coordinates of the last message and find the murderers of our clan members. Affirmative. The two black-robed old replied and left immediately. 9 Dragons Island. Tang Xiu chatted with the 6 young disciples from the whole unitary sect for a long time and learned a lot about the situation in the cultivator community. It was Tang Xiu's first time to find out that there were also some other sects, aside from the whole unitary sect, that still passed down their inheritance. The number of sect members was few, but they still existed. However, most of them were living in seclusion in some mountains, islands, or other small worlds. According to Jing Chanzi's story, the nascent soul stage was considered as the peak realm among cultivators on Earth, with around 5 people on Earth reaching such a realm. Those who had reached the Golden Core stage, however, probably amounted to less than 30. It seems that the number of Taoist cultivators, as well as those who practice other cultivation systems, is much larger than I had thought. But I'm curious about something. How did you guys advance to the later stage of foundation establishment in such a small period of time, given the fact that the Earth is short of resources for cultivation and the heaven and earth spiritual qi is so thin nowadays? Asked Tang Xiu curiously as he looked at the 6 youths. You may know something else, Big Brother Tang. Our small world is very rich in heaven and earth energy, several folds denser than the outside world, said Jin Chengzi with a smile. One other aspect is the fact that our sect cultivates many herbs, many of which are more than 1,000 years old, while we also keep planting them to substitute our consumption rate. Other than that, we also gather precious medicinal herbs everywhere, so we are not in short supply of cultivation resources. Jin Chengzi's explanation enlightened Tang Xiu immediately. It was essentially the foundation of the cultivator and Taoist schools and sections. Those cultivator sects with thousands of years' inheritance were highly likely to have deep foundations just like the whole unitary sect. Suddenly, Jin Chengzi said, Brother Tang, there's something I'd like to ask you. Ask away, replied Tang Xiu. It's about the lightning art you used previously. Its might is amazing, so I arbitrarily took a decision and told Xingzi to inform our master about it, said Jin Chengzi. My master also excels in this art, she is even extremely obsessed with it. I think she'll be ecstatic after hearing about it and will immediately catch up with us so she can ask you about the lightning evoker art. This made Tang Xiu's face slightly changed. Although he didn't know how high of a cultivation level Jin Chengzi's master was, knowing that such a powerful cultivator would come soon was far from good news for him. It was because 9 Dragons Island would become his future base. He was instinctively unwilling to let other powerhouses come over in case they were able to discover the island's secret, as well as to prevent any incidents where others had greedy thoughts to occupy it. He hadn't yet figured out on what side of morality this whole unitary sect belonged to. He had seen countless sects with decent disciples who posed as people of high morals, yet committed disgusting deeds regarding their interests. What's more, he didn't even know what kind of person Jin Chengzi's master was. This being the case, it was rather urgent for him to arrange the array ahead of time, so as to avert any accident before it was too late. While looking at the calm faces of the 6 youths, Tang Xiu said without flinching, since some seniors will be coming soon, I'll naturally welcome them. I'll also compare notes with your master when she arrives, in hope of our mutual progress. Tang Xiu spent some time chatting with the 6 youths before excusing himself to tend to some other issues. He left in a hurry and came to the 3rd floor of the palace, where Mo An, and the other men had already converged. Have you disposed of those 2 celestial wizards experts? It's been done and no traces can be found, boss, reported Mo An. Nodding at him as an answer, Tang Xiu then shifted to Mo and said, Contact Xiao Xue and tell her to pass my message to Tang Guang and Tang En. Their task is to protect Xingluan and then head over with them to 9 Dragons Island secretly. Kill any group sent by Xingguo should this guy make a move on them. Also, transfer all the remaining core members of our Everlasting Feast Hall here. But what about the other members on Clam Island, boss? Asked Mo, hesitating. Do you want them to be transferred here too? Tang Xiu was silent for a short while before shaking his head and said, those assigned to Clam Island don't need to come over for now. But the construction project on this island will be finished soon, and they will escort the talented children who have been carefully selected to this island by then. Mo nodded, but whispered shortly after, boss, I kinda have a hunch that a storm is brewing. Are we going to battle these wizards and shamans from this celestial wizard clan soon? I can't say for sure. But given the fact that their 2 experts have died here, it's highly likely that they won't let this matter go, sneered Tang Xiu. The battle with the celestial wizard clan is inevitable, but we still have to be on guard against cultivators from the whole unitary sect regardless. Is that the sect of those 6 youths? Asked Mo.
Yeah.
Tang Xiu nodded and said, from what they told me, this sect has some nascent soul stage experts and several others at the golden core stage. If all of the disciples of this sect were to attack us, I don't think we can fend them off unless Yen or Ji Qimei came over to deal with them. It's unlikely that we can obtain any benefits even if all of our everlasting feast halls people come over. With a changed complexion, Mo felt that the more he progressed, the more he became aware of the gravity of the gap between cultivation levels. There was no need to speak about the arrival of those at the nascent soul stage, as he and the others would probably be unable to fend off the arrival of some experts at the golden core stage. The resourceful and quick-witted Mo had eyes sparkling upon overhearing the conversation between Mo and Tang Xiu. He interjected of boss, if we're really going to have a battle with the Celestial Wizard clan or the whole unitary sect, I think it's best not to set up the battlefield on Nine Dragons Island. You just said that this island is going to be our main base in the future, so I'm afraid that if we have a battle here, our place will be ruined after the battle. Carrying out the construction project here is very intensive, so we must set up the battlefield elsewhere since we have the initiative. Tang Xiu's expression shifted and he asked, do you have a suggested location? There are 16 small barren islands around our Nine Dragons Island, said Mo. The nearest island is about 50 nautical miles away, while the furthest is about 200 miles. I recommend setting up a monitoring station on these 16 islands. That way, we can spot the enemies as early as possible no matter the direction they come from. We can use choppers to transport our men on the other islands and use ships to carry the troops on Nine Dragons Island. This way, we can set up the battlefield on those barren islands. But we don't have many helicopters now, while the signal at sea is also quite bad. It will be even more difficult to send a message should any stormy weather occurs, said Tang Xiu. If such a situation does occur and the enemy arrives, it's gonna be us who'll fall into a passive situation. We can purchase the choppers immediately if there's not enough, boss, said Mo. I have the means to buy at least 10 of them in a short time. As for the environmental issues, I don't think it will affect our ability to communicate, boss. I think you forgot our identity. Our identity? Tang Xiu stared blankly. Chapter 954, Li Jiren's Choice. It is said that every man has a fool up his sleeve. It was exactly the case with Tang Xiu at the moment. Mo's reminder made him remember that all of them were cultivators and they could still move very fast at sea using their flying swords. Other than that, he could also refine some communication jade slips that wouldn't be affected by any electromagnetic storm should it occur. You're right, On. Tang Xiu nodded and then asked, anyway, where's Long Zhengyu? Tell him to come over. I have something to discuss with him. Got it, boss. Jin Shi immediately strode away after hearing that. A few minutes later, Long Zhengyu was brought by Jin Shi. The former immediately said after he saw Tang Xiu, Brother Tang, are we people who are very close? The question made Tang Xiu raise his brows as he nodded and answered, we have a very good relationship indeed. If so, then why can't you teach me cultivation art, asked Long Zhengyu. I used to be like a frog watching the sky while sitting at the bottom of a well. I never knew that people like you existed in the world. Now that I know about it, I've been imagining I'm like you, flying in the sky and having terrifying combat prowess. Tang Xiu himself had long guessed Long Zhengyu's wish, so he already expected that he would request this. After thinking about it, he replied, I believe you're also clear on what's going on here, Zhengyu. Although we've killed those 2 wizards, the problem is far from over. It is likely more experts from the Celestial Wizard clan will soon arrive to this island. Facing such an enemy now, let's put aside the matter of teaching you cultivation art for now. I'll definitely teach you cultivation art and help you embark on the path of cultivation, once we've completely solved the crisis brought by the Celestial Wizard clan. The response made Long Zhengyu pleasantly surprised and he immediately said, no problem. I'll listen to you, Brother Tang. Also, I can't help you in the battle, but tell me anything I can do in some other aspects if you need my assistance. I'll do my best to accomplish it as long as it's within my abilities. I want you to pick up the pace of the construction project. It's best if you can finish it within half a month, said Tang Xiu. I still have a big plan to implement once the construction team on the island has left. A big plan? Long Zhengyu was confused and asked, what is it? Let's drop the subject regarding it for now. I just need your assurance whether or not you can finish the work within half a month, said Tang Xiu. Long Zhengyu pondered for a while and gritted his teeth before saying, completing the project within half a month is not a problem if we work overtime. All right. Tang Xiu nodded and said, anyway, I asked you on the phone before to pass by Hong Kong and help me bring a batch of jade here. Have you brought them? Long Zhengyu zoned out for a moment and immediately said, I brought some, but I heard from Hao Lei, the general manager of Grand Fortune Jewelry, that she hasn't gathered enough jade yet. Tang Xiu fished out his handset and dialed Hao Lei's cell number. Hello, boss. Hao Lei's voice came from the phone, though her voice was rather perturbed. What's your current situation? Asked Tang Xiu in a deep voice. You haven't yet collected enough jade for me still? I should have been able to get enough, boss, but I encountered some difficulties, said Hao Lei with a bitter smile. Some people are also buying jade on a large scale, so its price has been ceaselessly rising. Our Grand Fortune Jewelry has made a fortune from the jade you previously gave me. But if we were to wantonly purchase raw jades at this time, we'll have no profit at all. Do you know who the other buyers are? Asked Tang Xiu. Yeah, I already sent some people to investigate it. It's Li Jiren from Hong Kong, answered Hao Lei. Li Jiren? Tang Xiu's brows creased and he looked puzzled. Li Jiren was just an ordinary person. This man bought some pills from him to increase his life expectancy. What does he want to do by buying so many raw jades? After thinking about it but still not figuring it out, Tang Xiu decided to call Li Jiren directly after he ordered Hao Lei to hurry and buy raw jade regardless of its price. Hong Kong. Li Jiren was reading a stack of documents in his office. In front of him were two tall middle-aged men in Chinese tunic suits, each carrying a long sword and looking straight at him. Alas! After spending a long time reading, Li Jiren put down the documents in his hands and looked up at the two middle-aged men. Forcing a smile, he spoke, "Two gentlemen, frankly, I really don't have the means to gather the raw jade you need in a short time. The number you need is too many, after all. More so with the current situation where it is quite scarce in the market, leading to its soaring price. Its current price has even reached higher than it ever has in the past." The middle-aged man standing on the left shook his head and said, "Money is nothing in our eyes, we don't care about the price, Mr. Li. We urgently need a lot of raw jade now, so I hope you can help us. We can accept your grandson as our in-name disciple so that your Li family can have a cultivator in the future. That's the sincerity we can offer you." Li Jiren's eyes, however, fell back on the documents on the table. Some of the contents written on it made him very cautious because it involved Hong Kong's Grand Fortune Jewelry. It may be unknown to others who ran this business, but he was clear about it. Grand Fortune Jewelry had been buying raw jades on a large scale for some time. He could tell that it was Tang Xiu who was in urgent need of it. If he were to choose to compete with Tang Xiu for raw jade at this time, he was afraid that he would offend him. Yet, he wouldn't be able to fulfill the agreement with the two men in front of him should he back away from the battle to purchase the jades in the market with Grand Fortune Jewelry. This was simply a headache and a dilemma for him. Li Jiren rubbed his temples and was about to talk when his phone on the table suddenly rang. He swallowed back the words and his expression changed after he saw the caller's name on his phone screen. Tang Xiu is calling me now? His men should have investigated that I'm the one who's been buying a large amount of raw jade on the market, right? As he thought up to this point, Li Jiren immediately looked at the middle-aged men dressed in Chinese tunics, saying, "Two gentlemen, can you give me some more time to think about it and find the solution?" Also, I'd like to invite you to dine at the Everlasting Feast Hall tonight. I'll give you my reply at that time. How about it? The two middle-aged men exchanged glances and immediately nodded. After rejecting Li Jiren's offer to send them off, they left the office directly. Li Jiren then picked up the call and spoke. "Hello, Tang Xiu." "Elderly, I need an explanation from you," said Tang Xiu. "I know what explanation you want from me, Tang Xiu." Li Jiren bitterly smiled and said, "I hope you don't take it as an offense since I didn't know before that your Grand Fortune jewelry has been buying raw jade as well. Two mysterious men came to me 10 days ago. Their true identity is of cultivators, but I still have no idea about their origins. I made a deal with them to accept my grandchild as their disciple, and thus learn cultivation art in exchange for my help in buying them raw jades. They were standing in front of me just before I picked up your call, asking me to keep buying raw jades." "You really don't know who they are and why they need to buy so many raw jades?" asked Tang Xiu. "I really don't know about it," confirmed Li Jiren. Tang Xiu was silent for a short while and said, "Oldly, I urgently need raw jades. I must get enough jade within 15 days to carry out one of my major plans. Therefore, I hope you can give up your continuous purchase of it. I'll also teach your family a cultivation art as your compensation." Li Jiren's eyes lit up since he could pull out another meaning from Tang Xiu's words. The previous two cultivators only promised to accept his grandson as an in-name disciple. There was another request from them that his grandson was forbidden to impart the cultivation art to someone else. But Tang Xiu's words didn't have such a meaning. He would impart the cultivation art to his Li family, meaning that once his family obtained it, they had the right to decide who could learn it. One person compared to the whole family. It was easy for Li Jiren to make up his mind in an instant. Then, he said in a deep voice, "Tang Xiu, most of the raw jade I've bought have already been handed over to the other party, but I still have some of them stored in my warehouse. I'll secretly send them over to Manager Hao at Grand Fortune Jewelry later. Also, I'll stop buying raw jades for at least half a month." "If so, then you have my thanks, Old Li," said Tang Xiu with a satisfied smile. "I'll visit Hong Kong after some time. I'd like to invite you for a drink to express my thanks." "This is nothing to speak of. We're friends, and I've previously gotten a lot of benefits from you," said Li Jiren with a chuckle. 9 Dragons Island. Tang Xiu hung up the phone and looked at Mo. "Call Xiaoxue. Tell her to pass my message to Ji Qimei to suspend her tasks in Jingmen Island and rush over to 9 Dragons Island. My current power is still weak and I am probably not a match for nascent soul stage experts should any of them come here. This place is our base, I need her to take command here." "Affirmative," replied Mo with a nod. As the next day came, Tang Guang and Tang An arrived on 9 Dragons Island with Xingluan under their protection, along with the petite female and 5 guardian elders of Xingluan. After receiving them, Tang Xiu placed them in one of the newly built buildings on the island. In order to avoid troubles, however, he didn't tell them anything about the situation on the island and even asked them to stay in the assigned building cluster, and not stroll around the island at will. On the third day, a group of 80 experts from the Everlasting Feast Hall arrived. Under Tang Xiu's arrangement, they were scattered throughout the island and were on security duty. To prepare for the upcoming battle, however, Tang Xiu took his time to teach them many magic spells, though he spared himself from finding out how much they could manage to grasp in such a short time. Additionally, Tang Xiu also assigned a team of peripheral members to be stationed on 16 small barren islands within 200 nautical miles. They were responsible for monitoring the situation of the surrounding sea, reporting to him at once should they spot any suspicious vessels or people. Time fleeted by and 14 days passed in the blink of an eye. At the moment when the first beam of sunlight rose from the east, Tang Xiu, who was sitting cross-legged atop the palace roof, heard Long Zhengyu's shout to him. Chapter 955, 9 Dragons Alignment Array. After floating down from the palace rooftop, Tang Xiu landed on the ground and stood in front of Long Zhengyu, asking, "Is there something?" The work is all done as per our agreement, said Long Zhengyu with a smile. We can take all the workers to leave Nine Dragons Island today, while all the machinery can be transported within 3 days. Leave some of the machinery here in case we'll need them in the future, though, said Tang Xiu. I'll arrange An to settle the accounts with you. Also, Zhengyu, you're one of us, so I hope you keep the existence of this island a secret. Even those workers who have worked here must maintain the secrecy of this project. I already gave them some money to seal their mouths, said Long Zhengyu with cold eyes and a deep voice. You can rest your worries about that. Those workers are very clear about what can they spit out and what they cannot, since I have shown them some bloody shits should they violate it. I also plan to assign some men to list their addresses and residences, as well as that of their relatives and friends, to threaten them. They won't dare to disclose anything if they don't want to die. Tang Xiu nodded in satisfaction and patted his shoulder. Nine Dragons Island will be my home base in the future, will be guarded by a lot of armed personnel. No outsider is allowed to land here without my permission. Though, you're always welcome here at any time. You treat me as a brother, and I'll treat you as my blood relative, said Long Zhengyu smilingly. I'll hold on to your words, brother, replied Tang Xiu smilingly. All right, go pack up your things and take care of the workers of the construction team then. I'm afraid the island won't be peaceful anytime soon, and I don't want you to get implicated. You just said that we're brothers, Tang Xiu. I can't just stand by and watch you deal with everything by yourself here, said Long Zhengyu sternly. Tell me what you want me to do. I'll cooperate with you to the best of my ability. I can't, brother. Tang Xiu shook his head and said, ordinary people staying on Nine Dragons Island will be more of a burden to me than help. Just listen to me and hurry up in leaving. Wait for me to return to the mainland and gather there. This made Long Zhengyu silent for a while before he nodded and said, then be careful. I'll be waiting for you to return to the mainland so we can have some wine later. No worries. Tang Xiu nodded. With the departure of Long Zhengyu and the construction team, Tang Xiu came to the reserve warehouse built on the island the next evening. The importance of the raw jade stored here made him arrange Mo to guard the warehouse these last few days. Boss immediately greeted Mo after seeing his arrival. Nodding to him in response, Tang Xiu said, I put the raw jade here since there were outsiders on the island previously. You don't need to stay on guard anymore, as I'm going to take them away. However, there's a task I need you to complete. What task is it, boss? Asked Mo. I want you to head to Clam Island personally and pick 3,000 of the best children there from the tens of thousands being trained, said Tang Xiu. Bring them here with utmost secrecy. Do keep in mind that nobody can know of your whereabouts. Make sure to neutralize anyone who discovers you, whoever they are. I'll definitely accomplish that, boss. Rest assured, said Mo with a solemn face. Tang Xiu thought for a moment and added once again, there are many convicts that I took out from the number 1319 labor camp in Israel. They're still in the screening and inspection phase and have yet to become members of our everlasting feast hall. Hence, they must not find out anything about where the 3,000 children are heading to. What should I tell them if they ask about it? Asked Mo. Tell them that I ordered you to transfer 3,000 children to somewhere else, said Tang Xiu. Emphasize it to them that this is an absolute secret, and that I told you not to tell anyone. I understand, replied Mo as he immediately left. Tang Xiu then took away all the piled-up raw jade into his interspatial ring and began to carry out his previous plan, to lay out the feng shui array around Nine Dragons Island. The array was called the Nine Dragons Alignment Array, a cultivation protection array he had once arranged in the Immortal world. Due to his limited power at the present, however, he could only lay out a simpler version of it. However, he believed that once this array was arranged, let alone experts at the nascent soul stage, even those at the soul formation and body integration stage wouldn't be able to break it. A full day was spent without eating, drinking, or sleeping as Tang Xiu arranged the geomancy array. After he successfully arranged it, a golden-colored energy shield covered the entirety of Nine Dragons Island. Countless quaint golden runes constantly wandering about the shield as the heaven and earth energy, within 500 kilometers, was absorbed into it. The richness of the world energy here has increased more than 10 times. I can even feel such a dense world energy entering my body when breathing. This sensation is truly wonderful. The same thought filled the minds of the hundreds of people on Nine Dragons Island. Amid the vast sea, a medium-sized liner was swiftly cruising towards Nine Dragons Island. A graceful female Taoist in a blue robe was standing on the bow with a duster in her hand. Behind her were 4 beautiful girls in long white robes, ornamented with hairpins. From the looks of it, they were apparently immersing themselves inside the mysterious atmosphere of cultivation. What's currently going on? Suddenly, the Taoist nun in the blue robe had her complexion changed. She could keenly sense the energy of the world in the surrounding was now swarming over towards the southeast like a tide. It was as though there was a black hole there that was currently devouring the world energy. The 4 girls in white dresses also opened their eyes at the same time with a surprised look on their faces as they shifted their attention southward. One of them paced 2 steps forward and respectfully spoke, "Master, the course of spiritual qi is aligned with our ship's destination. Could it be heading to the island where our junior brothers are? You all stay on the ship. Keep exploring ahead and scout the situation for me," said the female Taoist in a deep voice. "You all remember that I received your junior brother's message that they are on some barren island around Nine Dragons Island. The owner of this island assigned some of his men to guard these barren islands. Tell them your identity when you run into them and they won't stop you." "Understood," replied the 4 girls respectfully. The female Taoist's figure floated and disappeared towards the southeast. The jade hairpin under her feet kept growing bigger until it carried her away quickly to approach Nine Dragons Island. "Huh? What is that?" Her eyes contracted upon seeing the golden energy shield that covered the entirety Nine Dragons Island. The scene sent huge ripples in her heart. She knew what it was, yet it was still shocking to her, causing her to be hardly able to believe it. That was an array. More so, an array with peerless might. She had seen a lot of array formations, and it could be said that she also had some mastery in it. Yet she never imagined that she could actually see a mysterious array that produced such a gigantically powerful aura in her life. Who could it be? Who has arranged a geomancy array at this level? Not even the Mountain Guardian array in the sect is as powerful as this one. Comparing the might is like the difference between night and day. As she came closer to the golden energy shield, the female Taoist didn't rush to contact anyone on Nine Dragons Island, and instead flew around the island, circling it a few times to study it for more than an hour. Yet, she was still unable to see through the mysteriousness of this array. She had a feeling that not only would she not be able to break through it, she'd also be killed trying. Ultimately, as the liner came over, she landed on its deck and shouted out, "Daoist Zixuan of the whole unitary sect is paying a visit to the owner of Nine Dragons Island. I hope the island master will allow me to dock to have a meeting. The array has just been activated and will need 7 days to complete. The island's array will completely take shape after the 7th day, so I'll naturally open the array entrance for you to come inside. Opening it now would otherwise destroy it. I hope Daoist Zixuan can understand, and I do apologize if it's slightly improper." The answer made Daoist Zixuan fall into silence for a long while. She then slowly replied, "If so, then we'll wait for 7 days." Atop the palace's rooftop, Tang Xiu brought a lunchbox and wolfed down his meal. He hadn't yet had any grub or water for quite a long time due to him arranging the array, while at the same time he had spent a lot of energy, making him starving. Ji Qimei behind him, however, had an amused smile sported on her face. She thought that it was interesting because she was perfectly aware of how high Tang Xiu's status once was. Who could imagine that such a venerable supreme in the immortal world paid no heed of his own image and just sat on a rooftop, while casually wolfing down his meal and drink like this? If his present appearance were to be seen by the myriads of races and living beings in the immortal world, they would probably be shocked with eyes staring wide. You should eat slowly, my lord. I'll go get some more for you if it's not enough, said Ji Chime respectfully after enduring her smile for a long time. At this time, Tang Shou's mouth was full of food, so he didn't feel like speaking at all and just casually waved his hand. After he finished the second serving brought by Ji Chime, he wiped his mouth and sighed. It doesn't matter whether you're an immortal or not, everyone still needs to eat and drink, although the food might be different. I'm nothing but an ordinary man now, so grabbing some rice and bread to eat is indispensable. Nonetheless, having filled your belly to the max is a good feeling to have though. Anyway, I'm gonna have some rest for a while, Chime. Don't disturb me if there's nothing important. As you will it, my lord, said Ji Chime with a smile. Tang Shou then floated down. Just as he arrived at the palace, he saw the whole unitary sect youths being led by Jean Chanzi who still stayed here. They hurriedly rushed over to him carrying their long sword. I know what you want to say to me. It's not like I don't have any hospitality, but your master's arrival is just bad timing. She came right after the island's protection array was activated. Like I just said, I can't deactivate the array for now, so she has to wait before she can come in 7 days, otherwise, my hard work and the days I spent to lay out the array will be wasted. Brother Tang, my master can't get inside. But how about us? Can we go out? Asked Jean Chanzi with a forced smile. You can't go outside either. Tang Shou shook his head and said, unless you think you have the ability to do so, your only choice is to stay on the island for another week. The 6 youths exchanged glances and shook their heads with forced and wry smiles. They could sense how powerful the array that protected the island was. They knew the outcome if they were to forcefully break through it. Doing so would absolutely grant them a tragic death.